Welcome. The eye is still black. Welcome, Dardasha. Welcome to Can We Talk. All right, people, hello and good evening and welcome again to Can We Talk for a minute, although sometimes we go on for a bit longer than a minute. If you would like to get in touch and you'd like to speak to me for as long as you'd want, the number is up there. Give me a call. And I'm going to address the topic of throwing milkshake. Throwing any drink. Cucumber might help for the black eye. Thank you, Dardasha. I'll try that, maybe. I don't mind having a black eye. Sometimes it can be a good thing. It can be a conversation starter. But I've spoken about the black eye yesterday. Don't worry about that. Today we're talking about whether or not we should throw milkshakes at people. So recently, Tommy Robinson has had a milkshake thrown over him. Nigel Farage has had a milkshake thrown over him. Rifa is asking, did you see what occurred with Bob the Builder? There's another incident I'll talk about. Dardasha is asking, what is your favourite milkshake? My favourite milkshake would probably be chocolate, but I don't have a milkshake very often. Bob the Builder, for those of you that follow Speaker's Corner, I was there when the incident happened, but I didn't see it happen. Apparently, Bob the Builder probed someone's foot with a stick, and someone complained and told the police, and Bob the Builder was guided away and the police spoke to him. But if that's incorrect, then I will stand corrected. I don't exactly know what happened. I was there at the park that day, but I wasn't watching. And then Bob the Builder was escorted away by the police for an alleged... That's okay, so you've seen the video. Rifto is saying that they saw the video. So there's an act of aggression being used in a discussion. Was Bob the Builder wrong to prod somebody in the foot with a stick? Probably he was. If so, is it not equally wrong to throw a milkshake over Tommy Robinson or Nigel Farage? We can't be biased. We have to be fair. We can't say it's okay when our team does it and it's not okay when their team does it. And I don't mean to portray Bob the Builder as being on the other team or all of this them and us type language, but Bob the Builder is a critic of Islam. He'll be the first to admit that. And in a conversation, he used an act of aggression. I don't know if he did it as a joke. I don't know if he did it with any kind of seriousness. He'll have to answer those questions. And Bob the Builder is a nice guy, and I'll always give him the benefit of the doubt. Whether you agree with him or disagree with him, I believe he's a very nice guy, and he's a gentleman. So I'd want to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But if you're going to criticise Bob the Builder for using violence, then it's wrong when everyone does it. And we have to be consistent. And when I had a chat with Bob the Builder, and I think we got onto the topic, here's a question. It's becoming a famous thing to do. Before a few months, they were throwing shoes. I don't agree with any of it. So Neerus, I thought he hit Afghan Mo in the face. I didn't see anyone get hit in the face. Don't know. He hit Afghan Mo in the face with the Quran. Perhaps he did. I don't know. And this comes down to what level of aggression or violence is acceptable. Are we pacifists? Are we going to say no? It's never right. Rifto saying after Afghan Mo put his umbrella on his leg. All right, I've obviously made a mistake. I've got it wrong. Perhaps it was Afghan Mo put his umbrella on Bob the Builder's leg, and then Bob the Builder retaliated by hitting him with the Quran. As I say, I don't know. I was not a witness, so don't take my word for what happened. All I'll say is Bob the Builder seems like a very nice guy, and whatever he did, I would imagine he either had reason for it or he did it in jest. I don't know. But very often, people will leap on an opportunity. Rifto is saying he overreacted, but I think we can forgive Bob. That's a really good way of putting it. Maybe he did overreact, but we can forgive him. And my goodness, we need more forgiveness in this world. And I know as a Christian, Bob would certainly be in favour of forgiveness and apologising if he was in the wrong. But what level of aggression or violence is acceptable in conversation, in debate, in relation between men and women? There's a very controversial passage in the Quran that some people interpret as saying the husband has the right to chastise the wife physically, and there's debate about, does this mean hit the woman? Is it okay to hit the woman? There are people that say yes it is. There are people that say no it's not. Mint McGinley is saying they should have thrown a giant turd, not a milkshake. Which incident are you talking about, Mr. McGinley? Are you talking about Nigel Farage or Tommy Robinson, or another one that I haven't mentioned? Dardasha saying decent people don't do any of this act. What makes you stay calm among the people in the corner? Share your advice. How do I stay calm in Speaker's Corner? I'm not as emotionally involved as a lot of people that go down to Speaker's Corner, because I don't have a hardline agenda that I'm desperate to defend. I have biases, I have perspectives and points of view. I said on yesterday's live stream that I disagree with Joseph on many things, but it's not personal to me. And I try as best I can never to take things personally. And I think if you do resort to an act of violence, to an act of aggression, like throwing a milkshake, like prodding someone's foot with an umbrella or hitting them with a Quran, you've lost it. And you're reacting emotionally when you're meant to be discussing something intellectually. And if you've got points to make as to why Tommy Robinson or Nigel Farage are incorrect or bad people, why don't you verbalise those points eloquently? Why don't you come down to Speaker's Corner on a Sunday, stand up on a box and eloquently explain to us all why these people are wrong? Because if you flip out, and I think most of it's become a thing now, it's become a craze, and everyone's looking to be the next milkshake thrower. And Dardasha mentioned in the comments about throwing shoes. Now, for some reason, I respect the act of throwing a shoe much more than I respect the act of throwing a milkshake. Throwing a drink on someone is a very cliched act, and in films and TV, it's often portrayed that a woman will throw her drink on a man because she's disgusted at something he's said or something he's done. Abdullah A is saying, hey, Lessons for Life 24/7. Abdullah A, welcome. Thank you for watching. Please share and subscribe if you haven't already. But we're talking about the act of throwing a drink on someone, by the way, if you've just tuned in. In this instance, we're talking milkshakes that have landed on Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson. But yeah, the act of throwing a drink on someone, it's it's pathetic, the right word. When it's portrayed stereotypically in media, it's a woman throwing a drink on the man and the man cannot retaliate. I subscribed, I met you briefly at the park. Nice to see you again. Thank you, Abdullah. Lovely to have you on board here. Superb. So yeah, it's an act that's associated with a woman throwing it on a man when a man can't retaliate because society says that a man cannot hit a woman. And I think that's a good rule to have. But when can you hit someone? When can a man hit a woman? There are a lot of memes and posts that get shared about nothing excuses a man laying a hand on a woman. And that all sounds well and good, and I'd probably agree. But what excuses a man laying a hand on another man or a child? Why and when should you ever hit anyone? I've said it before, I think you should only do it for sport or self-defense. But we raised the point about shoe throwing, and as a symbolic act, I admire the shoe thrower who threw 2 shoes at George W. Bush. Much more, for some reason, this seems like such a more powerful act of resistance. Throwing a drink on someone, they're all soaked and they're going to have to clean it up and everyone's going to laugh at them. And it's almost comical and it's kind of making fun of them. Here's Dadasha saying, 1 second, I'm just going to answer a call. Hello, caller. Are you there? Oh, no, hold on. Whoever was that calling in, are you there? Can we hear you? Call again. If you just called, call again. I missed your call, sorry. Yeah, I admired the shoe thrower who narrowly missed George Bush with his shoe. Abdullah, Dadasha, I agree with you. It's best to ignore hateful people and talk to decent people. That's one way of looking at it. Whoever was calling, the number that ends in 539, call us again. I just missed your call. Sorry about that. And then shoe throwing became a thing. And I know in the Middle East, the shoe and the soles of the feet have connotations, and you take your shoes off when you enter a mosque. It's kind of an act of respect. And then hitting someone with a shoe is an act of disrespect. But I admire this much more. Here we go. Hello. Who is on line 1? 1 second, caller, and I'm going to crank your volume up. Who am I speaking to?
Triple T.
Triple T, great to have you here. Thank you. Thank you for getting in touch.
Thanks.
What's...
I just wish to say something regarding the milkshake thrower.
Yeah. Bit of a coward, wasn't he? Bit cowardly to throw a milkshake on someone?
On the contrary, I think it's very brave of him to throw a milkshake towards someone, especially one who has such a backing and who had millions of people vote for his Brexit party. I thought it was an honourable thing.
Well, so are you talking about Farage or are you talking about Tommy Robinson, or both?
I'm currently talking about Tommy Robinson alongside Farage.
Okay.
I think both the people were.
Do you think are they both as bad as each other?
They're not as bad as each other. They are as good as each other.
Okay.
And I say this because it should be unfortunately, with this gentleman who threw the milkshake towards Nigel Farage today, I'm sure he will be imprisoned. But if people took this action in the 1920s and 30s when Hitler was walking the streets and he was campaigning, if they had thrown milkshakes on Hitler like these people did, 4, 5, 6 million Jews would not have died.
Well, it's an act of humiliation. Didn't Hitler go around humiliating people, making them wear yellow stars, that sort of thing?
Hitler went around humiliating people, but people
before he
didn't go
killed
around,
them and massacred them?
People didn't go around humiliating
Hitler dehumanized people. And it would have been fine to throw a milkshake over a Jewish person in Nazi Germany, and everyone would have pointed and laughed, just like they laughed at poor old Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage.
This is my point. If people dehumanized Hitler, they would have known that he isn't somebody who is invincible and someone who is immortal. He too is just a human being, just like anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. So they didn't need to dehumanize him. Don't they need to humanize him? If you start dehumanizing people, it's a dangerous process.
Well, I disagree. I think some people deserve to be dehumanized, especially people who will go on and kill millions of innocent human beings, not only in Germany and around the world, and other Germans who would unfortunately move over to Arabia and parts of Arabia, and then sadly we lose many more lives. So if somebody had thrown Milkshake on that man, namely Hitler, who some say was a person of Austrian origin, then perhaps today we wouldn't have the Holocaust Memorial Museum. We would have peace not only in Germany but also in Palestine.
Well, look, there's a lot of hate in a lot of places in the world. And do you really think we're going to prevent another Holocaust by throwing Milkshake on people? Isn't it better to explain why these people are wrong rather than humiliating them? Because then the people that agree with them, won't they just be more frustrated, more empowered and say, oh, look, you can't say anything these days, and when we open our mouths, someone throws a milkshake at me, what am I going to do? I'm going to throw a milkshake back. I'm going to throw 2 milkshakes. Or I'm going to throw a rock. I'm going to throw a bigger rock. I'm going to pull a knife. This is what a cycle of violence develops into. Because what's the revenge for having a milkshake thrown on you?
The milkshake, which was thrown particularly on Tommy Robinson and also on Nigel Farage to a lesser extent, but certainly towards Tommy, was precipitated. It was not done for no reason. It wasn't done because they hate the color of the skin of Tommy, or they hate his accent or his working class background. They dislike Tommy Robinson for a genuine reason. And similarly, if those reasons of Hitler, when he stood up and said, look at these Jews, look what they're doing, they took over all the businesses, and look at them, the way they look, and they stink, and they steal their money, and they love their money more than their kids. If people had then stood up at that time, because these parties always start small, and then they become big, and before you know it, they're an uncontrollable force in the world that leads to millions of innocent deaths.
Isn't it a cowardly act, though, to use aggression against someone who you know cannot fight back? If Nigel Farage, provoked, retaliates, he's going to lose his job.
Well, if we talk about Tommy in particular, Nigel Farage,
thank you,
just
Colin.
like Prescott did react, but not to the same extent, agreed. But with Tommy, he did give several punches towards the young man who threw the milkshake on him, and so did the bodyguard. So there was a reaction of a reaction. He didn't lose his job. He's still going on to perhaps win the elections on the 23rd of May.
Absolutely, and other parties are available. You reminded me of the John Prescott incident. Who came out looking good after that one? I think John Prescott gained a lot of respect for hitting back the egg thrower. And here's another. It was another attempted act of humiliation. Egg on your face. It's a metaphor and literally true in that case. Trying to embarrass someone. And the guy smacked him back. Well done, John Prescott, I say.
When Jeremy Corbyn was, I guess, a victim of egg throwing, the egg was thrown from such a close-up that there's a different case. It's different to humiliate somebody with milkshake or throw it from a distance.
Oh, I see. You don't like it when someone throws an egg at Jeremy Corbyn, but you love it when they throw one at Nigel Farage. I see where we're going with this one, Triple T. Loony, lefty, biased. You don't mind milkshake, but egg, no, that's going too far.
No, I'm a mini fan of Nigel Farage. But regarding Tommy Robinson, it reminds me of an old Arabic saying. And I guess it just goes to show, whatever you think of Nigel Farage, you have to give him one thing, that he's somebody who can control his temper, in particular in this case. And the Arabic saying is, the person who fights well isn't the strong one. The strong one is the one who remains calm when in a fit of rage. And Nigel Farage exemplified this today, indeed.
Oh, did he? Okay, so by throwing a milkshake at Nigel Farage, we've given him an opportunity to look good. And Jordan M is in the comments, by the way. Greetings, Jordan M. Great to have you watching. Got Triple T on the line, a man who was critical of you in the past, but it's great to have you with us. Triple T, go on. Sorry.
My statements to Jordan, if I may.
Go on. Yeah, address Jordan. He's watching.
I'm glad to hear that. I don't have an issue with white Muslims, if I may obfuscate and take this conversation to a different level, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no problem. Just briefly, and then we'll get back to milkshakes. But you're going to
my comments were
explain how you're not racist.
The English gentleman and others who are listening. In the Muslim community, when a white man becomes a Muslim, we hold that white man in such high esteem. We love him and we honor him and we say he's the great white hope. But when a black man or a brown man becomes Muslim, nobody gives a damn. And it's just another punk coming home. Well,
look, slightly off topic, but we brought it up. All I'll say is when a white Muslim does something bad, it's shock horror, and the story is that they're white. How could this white boy do something terrible? And I'm referring to perhaps converts to Islam that have been misguided and become extremists. When a black convert to Islam does something in the media, the story is that they are Muslim. And it's kind of not surprising, and it's sort of what would you expect? But we live in a majority white country, so there are going to be obvious advantages to being
majority white country or not, I'm telling you that when
Well, Triple T, Jordan M is saying, who cares that I'm white? A true Muslim will not care. I agree totally. And Dardasha is saying, no, Triple T, in Islam we are taught always no difference between any colour. Some cultures are a bit messed up. Definitely, I think the teaching from the religion is clear, and obviously culture. I don't want to pick on the whole white issue tonight. And let's not be too negative. But Triple T, anything else on that, or can I take you back to milkshakes?
No, I'm happy with that statement. I understand the religion of Islam. There is no color. I fully understand that. But the very few times that I've been to the mosque, I can tell you 2 conversions, and I grew up in a community where there were many white Muslims. Mm-hmm. And I have to say that in the few times I visited those religious places, I realized that when the white converts or reverts would come into the faith, it was the greatest thing on earth. But when we saw a brown Indian person or an Asian or a Latin American person come into Islam, nobody really gave a damn. I'm just giving my imperative.
Yeah, no, I take that. And look,
nothing but religion.
Maybe it's because it's rarer. Maybe there are more black Muslims in the world than white Muslims, and when you get a white one, it's rare. But anyway, look, thank you for addressing that issue. Let's go back to the milkshake issue. And I want to ask you, which do you prefer? Milkshake throwing, egg throwing, or shoe throwing? I know which is my favourite.
Well, if something was to be thrown on me, I would rather it be a shoe. There's a good chance of dodging it also.
Well, yeah, George Bush did a good job of bob and weave when the shoes came in.
Yeah,
I'm always very frustrated when I watch that clip again, because it wasn't a direct hit. And got some funny comments going on in the screen there, but you can read them yourself. Yeah, it's very frustrating. And as you say,
I can't see the comments. Please read them.
No, they're not addressed to you. Don't worry.
Hear it.
No. So yeah, you can dodge a shoe. A shoe's not going to leave you dirty and soiled. Here's Jordan saying, I wouldn't mind someone throwing some Valentinos at me. Which size, Jordan? Just so we know. we'll get you a couple of size 10s do. Yeah, I think throwing a shoe, it's symbolic. Oh, Jordan, size 11. There you go. If anyone's got a spare pair going, he's ready to catch them. Colin's laughing. Keeping it light-hearted. There you go, Dardasha. You said, do we ever talk about anything positive? We can have a laugh as well. I know it's all a bit doom and gloom at the moment. So you'd rather have a shoe thrown at you?
I would go for a shoe. As I say, there's more chance of it being dodged. But with George Bush, I'm very skeptical when he was a victim of shoe throwing.
Yeah.
And I think ordinarily you can't dodge a shoe as such, the way he did, especially a person like George W. But so I'm a bit skeptical. I think, was it planned? Was it something that was?
Oh, you're going down that? Are you going down that route? It's all a setup. It's all fake.
He is more intelligent than we thought he was, or it was fake.
A tinfoil hat. Well, this brings back to what you said about Nigel Farage throwing a milkshake on him, and Nigel reacting with honour was a chance to show him in a good light. Maybe, here comes my tinfoil hat. Did Nigel Farage set it up? Did he say, oh, it's in the limelight at the moment, milkshake throwing? Maybe
it'll be... Here's Nigel Farage, an undercover Muslim who knew about the Arabic statement that we have, that the strong one is not the one who fights well, the strong one is the one who remains calm when in a fit of rage. So
if Nigel Farage is a secret Muslim, I'll eat my tinfoil hat. But you never know. So we're going to sum it up then, Triple T. Throwing shoes, throwing eggs, throwing milkshake. Give me an answer. Is it right or wrong? Because you can't say it's okay when it happens to Farage and not okay when it happens to Jeremy Corbyn.
It's okay when it happens to people who have that type of connotation and that affiliation that could lead to deaths of millions of people or thousands or many being hurt throughout the years and decades. Then it's okay. We've
got another comment. Dardasha is saying, I had a ruler thrown at me in school. I was upset.
Yeah, when I left school, a woman, a young girl at the time, she was a victim of someone throwing an egg at her. And although it was 20-something years ago, I still recall her crying profusely for strange reason. But I suppose it was a different time when we were kids. My point here is when somebody like these characters that we have on the street, if somebody throws something on them, as long as it doesn't harm them, then I'm okay with it. I wouldn't mind if somebody threw a milkshake towards me, and I would just say, haha, good one, now should come and change, and that would be the end of it.
Jordan M. just added that Nigel Farage distanced himself from UKIP because of the anti-Islam sentiment. So,
there you go.
Who knows? There you go. You heard it here first. I wonder what his name would be. Nigel.
Brother Nigel.
Naeem? Nabil?
I think we just call him Brother Nigel.
Brother Nigel. Who knows? All right. Well, look, Triple T, thank you for taking the time to speak to me.
Thank you for having me on.
It's been a pleasure as always. I hope you will we'll do it again soon.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Bye. There goes Triple T there, shedding some light on the subject of egg throwing, milkshake throwing, and anything else you want to throw there. The lines are clear now. If anyone wants to get in touch, that is the number behind me, especially if you have a different take on it or if you disagree with me. I wonder. I'm still trying to justify the fact that I admire the shoe thrower, but wouldn't want to throw a milkshake or an egg. Abdullah is saying the best thing to do is forgive. Yeah, it is. The best thing to do is forgive and to control your anger. And if someone does throw a milkshake on you or prods you with an umbrella, you have an opportunity to look good. Or if someone shows up drunk at the park and starts insulting your religion, you have an opportunity to film it or not. We've debated that before, but you have an opportunity to look good by forgiving. And I always admire it when these things do happen in the park or anywhere else, when someone's belief or identity is challenged, something very dear to them, and they don't react with anger, they act with forgiveness. And someone asked earlier on, how do I keep my patience in the park? It's probably easier for me. I'm not a Muslim. When I see people challenging Islam or attacking Muslims, obviously I'm going to disagree with it. I'm going to try and stand up for justice and fairness, but I'm not going to be as emotionally involved. So it's quite easy for me to hold my composure sometimes. I can understand why people react. Dardasha saying we can throw good news today. A billionaire decided to pay off the student debts. Robert Smith. Is that true? Robert Smith, sounds like a real billionaire, has decided to pay off the student debt. Well done, Robert Smith. Where's my money? All that money I spent on beer at university, I want it back. That's good news. That's a positive. If anyone's got any other good news, any other stories you want to share with me, any other topics, whether for today or for another time, not all of them, only his community, I guess. And Abdullah's saying if you join the British Army, you can get a bursary to fund for your university fees. Okay, there's Abdullah giving us a good reason to join the British Army. The bad news is you might have to go and risk your life and kill people in other countries. You might end up having a shoe thrown at you. You might have poppies burnt in your face. The poppy burning, that was another protest that was widely publicised at the time. Is it okay to burn a poppy? You're not actually hurting anyone. Funny, I think more people objected to poppy burning than objected to throwing milkshakes or throwing eggs or any of the rest of it. So I guess it comes down to the usual, that emotions, when you hurt someone emotionally and symbolically, that's actually worse than physical pain. I had physical pain the other day. The black eye is still here. But that's not the reason why I get nervous before I compete in the ring or the octagon or whatever it is. I mean, this was K1, kickboxing. I was nervous before the competition. Nervous. And I always am. And that's why I do it. I push myself. Dardasha saying, why do you do what you do? Yeah, I do it to push myself. I do it to test myself. And a long time ago, I thought if I kept doing it and I got used to it, the nervousness would go away. But it never went away. But you can use that fear and the nerves and the anxiety, and you can channel it into something good. I'm never worried when I get in the ring. When I get in the ring, it's already, the ordeal has already begun. And at the weekend, I fought 2 K1 matches back to back, and I won the first round quite quickly. And then the next guy who'd qualified for the final was ready, and they just said to him, "Oh, do you want to go again? Do you need a minute? Do you need to take 10 minutes?" And I thought, no, look, I'm here. It's better to do this now or never, because if I go away and start waiting, I'm going to get nervous again, and it'll be another ordeal. So they gave me a few minutes to recover, and I just fought 2 matches back to back. I didn't win the final, but so be it. Crimes of Britain is in here. Evening. Welcome, Crimes of Britain. You are a great historian, and you've often picked up on little points I've mentioned, especially about the history of Ireland. And Abdullah saying, I'm a Kurd from Turkey, by the way. You're welcome, Abdullah A. Thank you. We want to get people from all over the world, all different languages, nationalities, religions, all come in here to discuss and talk together with respect. So great to have a Kurd from Turkey. Welcome. And I noticed you didn't say Kurdistan. I don't want to open that political can of worms, but fair enough. Yeah, so I do these things to test myself. I mentioned in a previous video that I've done stand-up comedy as well. Dardasha saying, I guess once someone becomes a parent, life changes. You can't risk your life anymore. Look, we risk your life every day. The sport of boxing and MMA is very safe, by the way. There are tragedies every so often at high level competition, but it's much safer than getting on a plane. It's much safer than crossing the road. And what's more dangerous is to not do any sport and let your health deteriorate. That's your physical and your mental health, by the way. I think sport, martial arts, they give you the strength, the inner strength to hold your composure. If you're used to having people smack you in the head, try and choke you unconscious, and you're doing that a couple of times a week, you're not going to flip out when someone calls your mum such and such, or when someone throws a milkshake over you. You're going to be used to conflict. You're going to be used to confrontation, and it will give you that self-control. Like the hadith that was mentioned earlier on about the strong one is not one who can wrestle physically. It's the one who can control himself. And if you are good at wrestling physically and you're used to it, then you will be able to wrestle your own ego, or the nafs, as they say in Arabic. So yeah, coming back to why I do these things, and I was mentioning stand-up comedy and competing in mixed martial arts and boxing. I find them both nerve-wracking. I get nervous before giving a performance. I get a bit nervous before I turn this camera on, believe it or not. And it's going out live, and what if I say something stupid or I mess it up? I get nervous. It happens. And I think I probably get more nervous before giving some kind of performance or public speaking than I do fighting in the ring. Even though in the ring, real physical damage can be done. And that's not what I fear. And I don't know what it is I fear in the ring, because I'm not afraid to lose. I've won, I've lost, I've drawn, whatever. We all go home, and you either win or you learn. I don't know what it is I'm scared of. Maybe it's just a natural thing. But I think I'm more scared of the public speaking. And I think this comes back to the fact that we are more scared to be humiliated than we are to be physically beaten up. So maybe Triple T is saying, never mind about that, something in the comments. Maybe we're more scared to be humiliated than we are to be physically beaten. Dardash is saying, lesson for life, much respect to your courage, well done, thank you. Well, yeah, courage is just, what is courage? I think I'm scared. I think I'm a scaredy cat, but I do it anyway. You just push yourself. Push yourself to do these things, and yeah, you'll progress. Anyway, we'll probably wrap it up there unless anyone else wants to give me a call if you disagree with something I've said. If you've got a different topic you want to bring up, I don't mind. Colin, if you're watching, Jordan's giving the thumbs up to Crimes of Britain. Oh yeah, Crimes of Britain, welcome, and I appreciate your history knowledge. Sometime I'd love to do a chat with Crimes of Britain about Ireland. You mentioned certain things recently. It might be a bit niche. We were talking about Gusty Spence, and I had admired and respected Gusty Spence, who was a loyalist because he reached out to members of the Republican movement. And I think you questioned me on that, and you used a term that I had to Google. You said that they were stickies, and I now know what that means. Very interesting stuff. He was with the stickies who were anti-Republican. So Crimes of Britain, okay, we're going very niche on Ireland now. So the official IRA were split from the provisional IRA, 1970s in Ireland now, Sinn Féin, etc. And you were saying that this loyalist reached out to someone who was not true to the Republican cause. Fair enough. Look, we're going deep on Irish history now. The officials colluded with loyalism in the end. I don't know enough about this. That would be my position. Okay, fair enough. We're going in on Ireland now. I love it. That would be your position. That is fair enough. There are people who would accuse the great leader, Michael Collins, of capitulating and being a free stater rather than a true Republican. I've seen videos of Dan Breen criticising Michael Collins. Yes, Michael Collins was a stater, a free stater. Okay. I see where you're coming from now, Crimes of Britain. Fair enough. And I'd love to do a phone call on this one. It seems like you're very, very, very clued up. Irish history is dear to my heart. I believe in a united Ireland. Crimes of Britain is saying 100% Collins swore an oath to the British Empire and betrayed his oath to the Republic. Yes, he did. And he said that he had signed his own death warrant by being sent by Eamon de Valera to sign the treaty, that he'd signed his own death warrant. But for me, the saddest part is when Irishmen turn on each other and kill each other, whether that's Free Stater against Republican, whether that's Protestant versus Catholic. That makes me very, very sad. Anyway, that's Irish history. We've been talking about Milkshake and whether or not we should throw it at people. Another night, Crimes of Britain. I really hope you will join me. It's almost time to wrap it up. Any more comments? I thought I was a good teacher. Yeah, we've got Dardasha, a teacher and a student are in the comments and they're talking to each other. Triple T is saying somewhere's a perfect place to visit. Look, thank you for getting in touch tonight. Thank you for watching. I hope you will all continue to do so and to like, subscribe, share, blah, blah, blah. If you've got someone who has a point to make, take it easy. Thank you, Crimes of Britain. Thank you very much. Son Nabil, thank you very much, my friend. Got anyone who's got an issue they could raise on this show?